Hi guys, I'm here working on the review for section 7.1. Let's start with the first one. 9 raised to the 3 halves. What we're going to do is I'm going to break up the fraction into two parts. So I get 9 to the 1 half raised to the third power. Then I'm going to take the square root of 9, which is 9 to the 1 half. That gives me 3. I'm going to leave that 3 on the outside. And 3 to the third power is 27. Okay, next is 8 over 27 raised to the negative 2/3. I'm going to do the exact same thing that I just did. Break it over to 8 over 27 raised to the negative 1/3. And I'm going to raise that to the positive 2. And you'll see that if I were to multiply negative 1/3 and 2, that would give me the negative 2/3. Okay, now the way we get rid of a negative exponent is we flip what's up into the parentheses. So that's going to give me 27 over 8 to the 1/3, and that's going to make that a positive 1/3. Okay, so I flipped what's under the parentheses. Now I'm going to take the cube root of both 27 and 8. That's going to give me 3 over 2, and then I'm just going to square that. Now when I square that, that gives me 9 over 4, because I need to square both the numerator and the denominator. Okay, now number 3. Now remember that x has an imaginary exponent of 1, so that's going to give me, if I multiply x to the first times x to the negative 1 half, that means I need to add them, so that's going to make me x to the 1 minus 1 half. Now I need to write 1 with a denominator of 2. The way I'm going to do that is 2 over 2. So that's going to be x to the 2 over 2 minus x to the 1 over 2, which leaves me with x to the 1 half. Okay, let's move on to number 4. Y to the negative 5/6 raised to the 12th. When we raise an exponent to an exponent, we multiply. So it's y to the negative 5/6 times 12. Okay, so that's going to be multiply the numerator times the numerator, or you can see that I can simplify 12 over 6 to 2 over 1. And now I'm going to get negative 5 times 2 and 1 over 1, so y to the negative 10th. And I don't want any negative exponents, so that means I'm going to put 1 over y to the positive 10th. Okay, number 5. Number 5's same idea, but now we're going to have 1 in the numerator and 1 in the denominator. So I need to add the exponents in the numerator first. So x to the 1/4 plus a negative 1 half. Okay, and I need a common denominator, so I'm going to rewrite 1 half with a denominator of 4, which is going to give me 2/4. And x to the 1/4 minus 2/4 is x to the negative 1/4. So that's going to be x to the negative 1/4 all over x to the 2/3. Now remember, if we divide, we're actually subtracting. So this is going to be x to the negative 1/4 minus 2/3. And I need to write them with a common denominator. So that's going to give me x to the negative 3/12 minus 8 over 12. And I simplify that to x to the negative 11th over 12. And I don't want negative exponents, so I do 1 over x to the 11/12. Okay, number 6. Same idea. I'm going to do x to the 1/3 plus a negative 2/3. Okay. Now 1/3 minus 2/3 is negative 1/3. So now I have a to the negative 1 over 3 divided by a to the 1 half. So I'm going to subtract them. So that gives me a to the 1/3 minus 1 half. Okay, now I'm going to write them both with common denominator of 6. So that's going to make it 2/3 or 2/6 negative 2/6 minus 3/6, which gives me a to the negative 5/6, but I don't want a negative exponent, so it's 1 over a to the 5/6. Okay, number 7. It's an exponent raised to an exponent, so I'm going to get x to the 2 over n times n. Now if I see that there's an n in the numerator and n in the denominator, I can actually just simplify n over n, which leaves me with x squared. Okay, number 8. Now remember, we talked about this in Thursday's lesson, that a square root is actually saying, raising it to an exponent of 1/2. So now I have x to the 14th, or y to the 14th raised to the 1/2 power. And if I have an exponent to an exponent, I'm going to multiply them. So y to the 14th times 1/2 leaves me with just y to the 7th. Okay, number 9, same idea. I'm going to rewrite it with an exponent with a fraction. So I'm left with 121 y to the 12th raised to the 1/2. And now I need to think about this as distribution. I need to distribute that 1/2 to both terms, the 121 and the y to the 12th. So the 121 to the 1/2 and the y to the 12th times that 1/2. And the square root of 121 is 11, and 12 times 1/2 is 6. So I'm left with 11 to the y to the 6th. 3 more here. Number 10, same idea, but now this is a cube root, so I need to write it with a 1/3. So that's 125 b to the 15th to the 1/3. 125 to the 1/3, b to the 15th times 1/3. Okay, the cube root of 125 is 5, and 15 times 1/3 is b to the 5th. Number 11. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to do the same idea. I'm going to break it all into an exponent of 1/2. What you'll see is that there's no square root to -9. Okay? I'm going to see that in a second. So now we're going to get a to the 6th times 1/2, b to the 8th times 1/2. Okay? There is no square root of -9, so I'm actually just going to leave it like that, because we have nothing we can do so far. Then 6 times 1/2 gives me a to the 3rd, so I'm going to put that out front. A to the 3rd, and 8 times 1/2 is b to the 4th. So I'm going to leave it just like this. And number 12, now we have the negative on the outside, so don't even deal with it now. I'm just going to leave it on the outside. Now we have a 4th root, so that means it's going to be at 1/4 power. So I'm going to do x to the 8th, y to the 12th to the 1/4. I'm going to kind of distribute that. Okay, so I'm left with x to the 8 times 1/4, y to the 12th times 1/4, 8 times 4, x to the squared, and then 12 times 1/4, y to the 3rd. And that's my final answer.